Hey babes, I'm Marisa, and this is Balance in Bloom, a safe space where we connect with Black women and celebrate how they are balancing life's demands while blooming into their full potential. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Nicole Antoine, a trailblazer in the world of experiential marketing and brand strategy. She is the co founder and CEO of BLAXPO, a premier conference that celebrates Black talent across Canada, NA&Co, her brand centered marketing agency, and For Brown Girls, an event management facilitation company for brands, government agencies, and communities to create safe digital and physical spaces for Black Canadians. As well as being at the helm of all of these organizations, she's also currently enrolled in an EMBA. She's a mother, she's a wife, and she wears so many different hats. How does she manage it all, and how does she find the balance amid all her competing priorities? Let's find out and let's get into it.
Hello,
Yeah,
Marisa. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm good. I have had a busy day, but I don't think it would compare to yours at this point. So I'm going to jump right in. You wear many hats: entrepreneur, wife, mother, leader. How do you personally define balance in your life?
Balance in my full life. Honestly, I try not to focus too much on balance. I try to look and focus more on how I can integrate the different components of my life in one another. Sometimes it can get a little confusing. However, if I include my family in terms of my husband, my daughters, and what I'm doing at work, whether it's at Four Brown Girls through BLAXPO or NA&Co, my marketing agency, I feel less of the divide. So I try
Mm,
not to focus on this idea of balance. I try to kind of look at like the menu of things I have to do, and based on what I have energy for, based on where I feel things are lacking and so forth, I kind of like select and choose based on what I need in that
mm,
moment. So balance, as I mentioned before, is really relative. And if we
for
focus
sure.
too much on like everything having the exact same level, it becomes very much unrealistic. And then we're setting these goals for ourselves that really like don't exist in that sense. So I feel that it's really important to understand like what you can dedicate time to versus what you can't dedicate time to, where you need help, where you need support. How do you really depend on your village, curate that village as some people that you can trust in order to really have enough energy to get
Mhm.
through a day.
It's so interesting that you understood balance to mean the literal definition of like everything being the same, because I think that's where people tend to differentiate. It's like, what does it look like to you? It doesn't necessarily have to be like 50-50. It's more like
Hmm.
70-30 or whatever the case may be. And that kind of sounds like what you're speaking to there. It's like you allocate where you can and you get energy from different sources where you can, I guess.
Perfectly said. That's exactly it. It's like we can't look at this as this like perfect equation. It
Hmm.
really is something that fluctuates with like your mood, what you're feeling for, what's happening in your
Hmm.
life, your environment, the people around you, and so forth, and readjusting accordingly.
I agree with you. In a recent Instagram post I saw of yours, you mentioned embracing growth even when it feels uncomfortable. So, what has been the most challenging shift for you on this journey of scaling your business, studying, and all of the other things that you are?
I would say that I'm someone that has a fair amount of empathy in terms of really understanding where people are at. And when you feel like you're growing, sometimes you feel that you become less accessible. So the word that's been plaguing me right now is the word busy, right? So
Yeah.
I want to be at all of these things. I want to support so many different causes. I want to support like my ladies and like people that have been like supporting me and so forth. But sometimes you just don't have the bandwidth to do it all, tackle it all, like have this kind of idea. So when I speak about growth, there's this element of discomfort, and anything
Mm,
that you're doing where you want to disrupt or you want to uh, get on a new frontier or be at a different level, we need this idea of like discomfort, you know?
yeah.
And when we are going through something that is unfamiliar, something where the people are unfamiliar around you, the situations are unfamiliar, the opportunities are unfamiliar,
Hmm.
it's like, how do I consciously engage with this transition and really have this idea of like, okay, I don't want to get in my head. I don't want to get overwhelmed. Like, am I the same Nicole? Like, I don't want to change, but at the same time, if I really conquer and I'm going after everything that I have, I feel like ordained, I can't be the same Nicole, right? So
It's
it's
not
like, how do
possible.
you shed like these versions of yourself in order to get to where exactly? Like, it's not necessarily a destination, but for
Mm,
me, like, I constantly want to feel like I'm changing. I constantly want to feel like I'm growing. I constantly want to feel like I'm evolving. But while these things are happening, it's like just reconciling now the old becoming the new, and then the new one day becoming the old, to have new, and like that, like,
mm-hmm.
you know, that consistent
It's
kind of
consistently
drive and
changing.
trek.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Do you feel any sense of guilt? I don't know why I kind of felt like I was picking up on some maybe semblance of guilt about leaving the old Nicole behind and maybe how that might impact the people who are have become assimilated to that Nicole.
I think your instincts are correct. I definitely have guilt because you don't know what you don't know in terms
Hmm.
of the unknown and that unfamiliarity, like I was mentioning before. So I do sometimes have guilt, but now I feel that the guilt potentially can be reframed almost like mourning. So,
Mm,
how am I mourning the previous version of myself and still loving and accepting and nurturing this new version of myself and really feeling present and grounded in the moment? That's something that
hmm.
I'm really working on through therapy, through open communication, through accountability. So, it's
Hmm.
really just striking that understanding and that self love and that consciousness that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and making sure that you don't get caught up in everything that you're
Yeah.
trying to do and be. And sometimes I feel like when I'm just focusing on too many targets, I just want to kind of retreat into a ball and like not speak to
Hmm.
anyone and just do the minimum and have those like kind of breaks and disconnects.
There's a few things that you said there that I want to comment on, but one of them about being grounded actually is a segue into my next question about the anchors that you have, about who has helped anchor you in the moments of overwhelm or self-doubt.
Right now, I'm on this like spiritual journey and I'm working on putting God first, really working on putting Him first because He is all knowing and all forgiving, and He wants more than I want for myself. He sees more than I see
Hmm.
for myself. So the plans and dreams that I have, He's like, okay, I'll match that and
And
double
then
it to
some.
this.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So for me, it's really having that open communication. Secondly, it's really having that communication with myself. So
Hmm.
before I kind of rely on like people and villages and pillars, I'm working on really trusting myself, really having these open, vulnerable conversations with myself where I'm accountable. And then from there, really depending on like my husband, who's been like my rock through it all, who's really
Hmm.
allowed me, afforded me to even dream this big, because with these type
Yeah.
of dreams, there's a lot of sacrifices that happen, and those sacrifices are not yours alone. Those
Hmm.
sacrifices are felt and like vibrate throughout my entire household, from like my husband, my children, my mother, my
Hmm.
siblings,
Yeah.
the people I work for. It's really just having enough to give and being surrounded by people who are not seeing it in this egocentric sense of like, okay, if she's not talking to me, she's mad at me, or if this, there's never
Hmm.
that type of questioning. It's like this trust and love and this
Mm.
genuine want to see me win, even when I
Yeah.
feel misplaced or misguided
Hmm.
in that sense.
And what do you think actually led you to? I'm going to assume, or maybe I shouldn't. I'll ask. Did you always put God first, or what is the thing that made you want to start doing that as opposed to relying on people?
No, it's not something that I was always doing. I feel that, especially where I'm at currently, where there are so many obstacles in this new realm that I'm in, I feel that I can have all of the book sense and the strategy and the people around me, but that's not enough. You need to have a sense of purpose and who's guiding that purpose. Like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for fame? Am I doing this for more money? Am I doing this for impact? Is it
Mhm.
selfish to have all of those at once and still all of those be true without being a bad person?
Mhm.
And when you have those type of questions and you're doing these type of things, you need to include the orchestrator in these conversations, right?
I agree with you.
Because if something has been put in your head and if you have a vision, although you can have a group of people who support you, at the end of the day, it's your vision. No one can interpret your vision because it's in
Hmm.
your head. You know what I mean? It's in your head, it's in your heart, it's in your
Hmm.
bones, and it's more than just money. Because if it was about
Yeah.
money, every person who starts off would stop within a week. You know what I mean?
Right. It's true.
It has to be more than just money. So I feel having a larger calling and a bigger purpose is more grounding than any one-on-one conversation that I can have. Although those are very, very important.
Hmm.
I feel like having just repositioning and recalibrating my priorities, I think in the long run is going to have way more impact. I'm in this journey now, so I don't have concrete things to kind of deliver on that, but I'm just being open and honest with him and telling him not only moments of gratitude, but also telling him, yo, I'm vexed. Like, why didn't you make that happen? I needed this
Hmm.
to happen, and I feel like I'm on my last string. Like something's gotta give,
Something
you
has to
know?
give.
I'm upset
Yeah.
with you right now. So it's important that we're vulnerable with him as well, you know,
Hmm.
and that we're
Absolutely.
honest with ourselves.
I love this journey that you're on. It's been a theme with different people that I've been speaking to here and outside. Even this morning with someone I met, she was telling me about how she has been devoting her life to God, and it's been exponentially better, with that vulnerability piece that you were speaking about. Not just going for
Hmm.
gratitude and not just going for asking things, but coming with your actual, like, I am pissed off right now. Like, the hell? With so many professional responsibilities, how do you carve out time for yourself without feeling guilty? I
Yeah,
should
I
start
do
with that
not.
question. Do you
Yeah.
carve out time for yourself?
I want to. I preach about it, but I do not. That's something that I'm trying to do more and more. And I do that through kind of these indulgent getaways for like 72 hours, sometimes by
Oh, I
myself,
saw
sometimes with
your St. Bart post. I did.
sometimes with my friends, sometimes with my family. But I
Yeah.
like to kind of escape just for a bit and be re-energized creatively as well. I'm a huge, huge, huge art lover. I visit museums all over the world constantly.
Oh.
I'm always like looking, discovering and creating and challenging the people around me in terms of how we interpret storytelling in the day-to-day work that we do at our marketing agency. So I feel like any type of creative plunge is usually the best way for me to disconnect and feel almost like I'm floating, right? Where you can
Oh.
just have several interpretations of something that's just beautiful, whether it's architecture, whether it's an actual image, whether it's textures, whether it's moments that you capture when you're
Mhm.
just walking around and just staring and observing people. So I try to have those mini little getaways where I can have a full replenished charge. It's something
Mhm.
that I definitely have to work on more and really be a little bit more intuitive in terms of listening to myself prioritizing myself even when I don't feel like my best self.
I guess that answers my next question. It was, what are some boundaries you've set to protect your energy and well-being? I mean, maybe it's part of it, you recognize when you need those 72 hours to get away, but I don't know how frequently you have those 72-hour getaways, but is there anything that you do in between those times?
Really, I try to protect my energy by being a little bit more conscious and intentional with who I surround myself with. I've
Hmm.
had a lot of friendships like kind of, halt
Hmm.
or me not investing the time and energy in a relationship and let it just do what it's supposed to do and let
Hmm.
different moments and situation guide whether it was meant to be left alone or it was meant to flourish. Like, how do I feel without that relationship? Does it make me happy? Does it make me sad? Does it make me question and so forth? So I feel that my in between, it's really, I rely on a lot of my village, but right now I'm trying to work on different hobbies and activities. I used to be super, super athletic. A few weeks ago, I went skiing, which was so, so
Nice.
much fun. To be back on the slopes. I'm taking golf right now, learning how to
Mm.
golf. So that's been really fun. So I'm trying to like just do different things that make me happy, things that are a discovery, things that I'm bad at, so that I can have a goal to improve and kind of
Hmm.
see where I'm at in that sense. So I do have to be a little bit more consistent in that and making sure that I'm scheduling that accordingly. So you're
What
calling me
you're
out.
Listen, we're all here to hold each other accountable. So if that's what it
Exactly.
is today, that's what it is.
I'll take it.
But
I'll take it.
what you were speaking to there is something at Babe Seeking Balance. I'm always pushing like active rest, active rest, active rest. Hobbies are so important, and I
Hmm.
think that we definitely overlook them. And it's just so interesting when I do these events and I see all the Black women together and they're just having so much fun. Like it's not necessarily productive. I don't know what the word is, but it's
You're
it's
so
necessary.
right. It's being around some people. Like, even there was a moment a couple of weeks ago where I was just like, yeah, no, this is not going to work. I don't know how I'm going to write this paper and get this project completed for this client and manage my team and speak to clients. Like, I didn't know how I was going to get it all done. And I said to myself, I don't know if I'll ever laugh again. I'm just so like
No.
in in a bubble. And it was just like my girlfriend called me and we were just talking and then she made a comment about something and I was cracking up and I was just like, okay, you don't realize how much you were saying, just the joy and the energy from people, the grace from people, how much it really pushes you forward. Because a lot of people take your time and energy for granted. Like, they feel that
Yes.
they're entitled to it. So there's this like need of instant gratification every single time that like
Hmm.
we're almost prisoners to have to answer this phone call right now, or I need to
Yeah.
answer the text within 15 minutes, or they're gonna think so. Like, there's just all of these pressures that we add. And if we just go around just assuming people are just good people, then maybe we wouldn't have all that anxiety, you know? So that's why evaluating and reevaluating the people that are around you is, I think, one of the most important things that you can do because the wrong people are just going to derail you at every turn, whether it's explicitly or whether it's subconsciously with just
Insidious.
like
Yeah.
exactly, with like bad comments or body posture or like just
Mm.
different little things that you can start seeing through. And I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah,
no, thank
bye.
you.
See ya never. Okay, so as someone who is deeply invested in building community, how do you ensure that you're not pouring from an empty cup? Again, that's similar to the previous question. It's the
Uh,
keeping the right environment.
I can't say that I always pour from a full cup. My cup is usually like half or empty because
Listen, that's
I'm
honest.
constantly I'm constantly giving, like I'm constantly just catching up to like pay a bill, create an experience, be there for my daughters, be there for my husband, be there for community, be there for this, be there for that. And like, it's just a lot. Like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I have so many unread messages in my inboxes across all my platforms, and a part of me feels super guilty. And another part of me is like, I can't really show up for you right now. So responding won't be genuine and it won't be effective.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really like finding that balance. And like we were talking earlier about being uncomfortable in growth.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is something that I never used to be a problem. Like all my inbox was always clean, always at
Mm-hmm.
zero, all of these messages return with like dates
Mm-hmm.
scheduled in calendar and like follow through, follow ups, check-ins. And that's not the case now. So it's like I could make that a negative thing that just brings me down and bogs me down, or I can try to reframe it and just be a genuine good person. Because if people have these like perceptions of you, I know that when they meet me, that that's not going to be the case. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know who I am, and that person doesn't change. And that took a lot of work to get to that point. So I just rely on who I am and who my values are, and that's how I'm always going to show up.
I think also something, I don't know whether it's helpful or not, but this is temporary. You're not always going to be so overwhelmed or so busy or so all of the things. And the people that will stay were always meant to be there. Do you know what I mean? The people who don't
Exactly.
understand, like you said, throw up the deuces. So,
Yeah,
um,
I hope I stop getting busy. I don't know if the busyness will stop. I think it will stop when like I'm retired, whatever that means, whatever version of retirement that is. But like being someone on the cusp of 40 and thinking about like, okay, how many years left do I have to work, or how many years left till my daughter goes to college, and just thinking of the different moments and being relative about it in that sense.
mhm,
I don't know if the busyness will stop. And honestly, I don't know if I would want it to stop. I think the busyness will change and the experiences will change and the support level of what you can afford to make
mhm,
everything kind of work out will change. Like getting help to clean your house, getting help to make dinner, getting help to run your errands, getting help. Like I think like having more resources to get more support to continue doing the things that you love, the busyness just changes, but it
mhm.
won't stop.
Like your ability to manage it or, you know, give it to others to help you manage will change,
Exactly.
not
That's
the
how I
actual
kind of
busyness.
exactly. That's how I kind of see it.
Okay, moving on to your community building and your entrepreneurship, you've built multiple impactful platforms. BLAXPO, I was there last year, got my little pic in front of the old step and repeat, Four Brown Girls, NA and Co. How do you balance visionary leadership with the demands of execution?
It's a very, very, very good question. I would say working on my leadership. I
Mhm,
think that is the season that I'm in now, with so many people helping me to execute these big things. It's not just Nicole Antoine, it's a slew of people that are devout and that understand the purpose and understand the true meaning of collective and really supporting one another. With that said, I feel that sometimes I might fall short in the type of leader I am or the type of leader I'm growing into be, to making sure that I'm supporting these individuals and mentoring them and giving the information that I have while learning from them and getting feedback from them and being accountable and vulnerable with them. So a lot of that balance with being a part and the helm of so many different things is really knowing who you are and knowing what the value you're
mhm,
bringing, not only through that set event, but through the process of executing that set event. So it's all connected. And that's when I feel like brands do the best work, when their culture or the culture that they're striving to kind of achieve in a holistic manner is the
mhm,
same culture that they're spewing out there through their marketing, through their
Mhm.
events, through their programming. So when you
Mhm.
have that consistency, then it just resonates like just naturally. So that's something that I'm always working on. It's like, and it
Mhm.
starts with me, you know? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, like I'm at the helm, and what am
Mhm.
I doing to be a better leader? And how can I just continuously improve?
And I think people can quite easily sniff out something that's disingenuous. If the execution is different from the process, I think we'd be able to tell.
Like you can call out
Do you know what
something
I mean?
that's fake from a mile away, right? You can
Yeah.
sniff it. And I think that's why, I don't know about you, but like I think that's why I have such a love-hate relationship with posting on Instagram or any social
Mhm.
media. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's me, like I'm the one talking, it's my idea, like it's me in the video. However, is it really me? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
am I being authentic, or is it coming off at not being authentic and so forth? What are people thinking about you? So it's like a double-edged sword in terms of having an opinion of what you feel and see versus what's actually happening, like separating the opinion versus reality. So
Mhm.
we can sniff out inauthenticity. However, the empathy factor is what is that individual going through at that moment in time that's deeper than the image that they're portraying right now, or the need to
Mhm.
portray that image. Listen, I don't have the answers. I'm someone that's just hypercritical. It's in my work, right? I'm just
Yeah.
always looking for opportunities in imaging and storytelling and copywriting and so forth,
Mhm.
that like it's just innate in me, but I try to not let the criticalness of it all impact or separate it from the actual individual,
Mhm. I'm following. I get what you're
you know?
saying.
Okay.
I do. And just with the distinction between reality and the perception and the this and the that on social media, I will say your captions are very authentic. Like, even if you've got this wonderful, happy image of what's going on, you are very honest in your captions. So I
Thank
would
you.
say you're
I
doing a
really
great
try to
job.
be. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. I'm really, really trying to
definitely.
be.
No problem. So BLAXPO is all about amplifying Black talent and fostering meaningful connections. How do you see self-preservation playing a role in professional success for Black entrepreneurs?
I think that's more complex than any given answer that I could contribute. I would say that it's important to understand, especially as Black individuals, that we are all on our own journey in
Hmm.
understanding who we are, our identity relative to the world that we're living in. And knowing that we're all at different journeys and different levels of it, self-preservation is really rooted in ensuring that we give grace and empathy to each other. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I feel that we can be our worst critiques. Like, you know, when you go to the family gathering and then your aunt's like, yo, you gained like 20 pounds. Like, what's going on? You know, like they're the most honest people ever, you know, and we're always
Yeah.
like criticizing and like, you know, a lot of, I'm not just saying it's only Black people that do that, but I'm just saying for me personally, and like when we say like community, 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 I like measuring that through action
Yeah.
and really seeing what is being taken, not necessarily what I'm giving.
Hmm.
So really kind of understanding that for self-preservation as Black entrepreneurs, we need to not only ensure that we're supporting each other, but
Hmm.
also be okay with being uncomfortable in being around different environments, being around different people, being around people that don't necessarily look like you or don't necessarily have the
Hmm.
same experiences as you. I think that I've been, especially doing this work, I've always been like, well, your problems don't matter. Like, I'm Black, and these are all the things that we're going through, and you better get the step in or get the no in or make some space for me at this table without
Hmm.
really understanding, like, okay, what is their version or how are they
Yeah.
actually seeing me? Is this person an ally or not? And it's really testing the waters. And I feel like going to school right now and being tossed in a bucket of individuals that are super successful that I would never normally be around or be
Hmm.
like just go on
Associated
a
with.
yeah, never. Are people that I'm learning so much from, are people that are
Mm.
challenging concepts, are people that are just giving me so much different POVs that I'm running back and telling the crew, I'm like, yo, you should like hear this. This is what these people be doing, you know, or this
Hmm.
is what like I heard from this. Like, just bringing in that information, I feel like that's a huge part of self-preservation. We have such
Hmm.
an innate ability to, I hate this word, code switch, but it's a superpower in so many ways. And being able to communicate and still take up so much space just by how you look, I feel like
Hmm.
that makes my blackness an advantage. And it's
Hmm.
really this like mind switch that we need to have and that we constantly need to be working on in order
Hmm.
to exist and not only exist but thrive in a significant way, like in an
Hmm.
impactful way where we can stop being the first or hearing the words unicorn or
Mm.
having those concepts. I want Black success to be a saturated element in time where
I
you
know.
don't even know if it's like, I don't remember when the first person was. Like, it's
Hmm.
insignificant right now because there's so many of
It's the
us
norm.
here.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, what are we doing to challenge that? And I think that it means that we can all have a turn. Like, what's for you is for you. It'll never be for somebody else. So it's like, how can we support, lift while still climbing?
That's kind of what my next question was about, actually. How do you approach creating spaces that honor individuality while building the collective?
Things are always evolving and changing. So, what are we doing about that? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, how are we truly engaging with our own journey? And
Hmm.
if we're having this constant communication, transparency, accountability, I feel that you're able to do both. Like you're able to be your true, authentic self and still help others in different ways because there's going to be a time where someone else is going to have to do that same thing for you. So,
Hmm.
really not focusing too much on what you're getting in the immediate time now, but understanding that all of these little things that we're doing kind of lead and prepare milestones that we don't even know that we're about to come about. So,
Hmm. The devil's in the
yeah,
detail.
a
Yeah.
100%, a hundred
Hmm.
percent.
How long is this EMBA?
It's 18 months. So I'm like a little over halfway through. I'll be writing my thesis
Congrats.
thank you. I'll be writing my thesis in August, September, and then handing it in December. So I'm almost at the finish line, not quite cleared yet, but
Hmm.
super excited to see
Yeah.
what's in store for me because already I'm definitely not the same. I'm definitely not the same. The concepts that I'm learning, the people that I'm around, the opportunities that are being presented. Like, I
Hmm.
encourage so many people, especially people that look like us, to
Hmm.
do the school thing.
Yeah.
And it's an investment. My program is a huge investment. And if you believe in yourself, there are so many ways you can make that investment happen. We all have our own money blocks of like, okay, well, I don't want to take out a loan. I need to save all this money. I need to but like, if you really, 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 really believe in something, it's important that you get investment. It's important that
Hmm.
you believe in yourself so much that you know that you are going to make good on that investment. And I feel that it adds like an extra little fuel to the fire and it allows us to achieve goals in the same amount of time as our counterparts. We're
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
delaying our success or delaying our dreams because of certain inhibitors. So it's really like focus on how do you invest in yourself and what are
Mm-hmm.
some mantras or you know what I mean? Or realities in terms of like money blocks per se that you have that are prohibiting you to achieve that said goal.
I have a question because I can just imagine someone listening and being like, oh, but she's in a privileged position to be saying something like that because she has her husband and her friends who get it and this and that and the third. Do you think that someone who's maybe not got that support system around them can still be thinking in that way to go ahead and pursue that?
100%. I feel that, yes, I am very privileged, and I think the privilege that I have is all earned. I wasn't
Yeah.
privileged like this my entire life. I've had a lot of struggles. I had a lot of discomforts, like we were mentioning before. And
Mm-hmm.
if you truly believe in something, if something is more than this idea of passion, like how do I locate my passion? It's like focusing on what makes you happy and focusing on what the market is telling you. And by the market, it's not only like customers, but what is your surrounding of people telling you? Like for you,
Mm-hmm.
for example, your energy, the way you speak, your vibe, your questions, the naturalness. That's something that's natural that I would assume that it's not although it's something that is ingrained in you that you love, that your community and the people around you are reinforcing you and telling you, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
girl, like you have something, you should be on primetime TV right now, hosting and interviewing the best of the best. So it's a two-way street, you know, in that sense. And I
Mm-hmm.
do think that it's all in the small steps that are bringing you towards that journey and having a plan, but not being obsessed with your plan, just using it as a guide and having that flexibility and that introspection to like pivot and like look at. But the first thing that I would tell that individual is it's okay to be scared. But in order to overcome the fear, we actually have to go through it. We can't go around
Mm-hmm.
it. We can't, you know what I mean? We have to go through it. And if it is
Mm-hmm.
going to that bank and hearing that no, and then going to another bank and hearing that no, asking, what are the steps? What do I need to do? Da 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 da. Coming back, creating a profile. I was looking at my EMBA program for a decade. For a
No
decade,
way.
yeah, for a decade, I was like,
Wow.
I knew I wanted to do my MBA. I knew I didn't want to do it the traditional route. I heard about the executive
Mm-hmm.
MBA. I was studying the profiles that were being um, admitted into the program. I went to several different open houses, speaking, financing. Like, how would I afford to pay six figures for a degree? Like, do I have to take out a
Mm-hmm.
loan? Do I have to do this? Do I like what? But first was like, okay, if I want to do this and I understand what are the benefits of doing this, what am I consciously doing in order to bring myself towards that goal? So I started building up my profile, being more intentional about the things that I was doing, the people that I was
Mm-hmm.
surrounding myself with, the contracts and so forth. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to apply. I know that it's not going to be a one and done. It's probably going to be several because it's super competitive, but I know I'm ready to apply now. Thankfully, I got in. However, it wasn't like overnight type thing. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
there is an opportunity and it's a low hanging fruit and it is overnight. And that's even more of an affirmation that it's meant for you. But you just have to get over the initial fear because once you cross it, there's going to be other fears that are going to be even bigger, that are going to even have more risk and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
that the journey is not this linear, rosy, Instagrammable filter. It's
Yeah.
way more complex. It's way more nuanced than that. And you just have to be present. You really, really have to be present and have that belief in yourself that you can kill it.
You can and you will. A couple of things that made me think about, your relationship with God that you are building out now. And it was that whole thing about not really knowing how it's going to happen. You just need to know the why, as far as I'm concerned. Why am I doing this? And then let the good Lord figure out the rest. Or, those around you gas you up enough to have you believe that you can do it. Of course, it needs to come from inside, but that's really important having those people around you. So I think that is also about, like I just said, placing your trust in the good Lord or whoever it is
Hmm.
that you want to
Hmm.
place your trust in outside of yourself. And then the second thing is something you said earlier, you kind of described yourself as an opportunist in the best possible way. But then what you've just described there about the 10-year journey to doing this EMBA seems a bit more on the cautious side of things. So how would you describe yourself? Are you that person who goes after everything like one time for the one time, or is it like you're a slow burning kind of person? You need to really analyze the
Me,
negatives and the positives.
I I love that. It's all about timing. Just because I want
True.
something, it doesn't mean that it has to be now. So
True.
this idea of if I want something that bad, what are things that I need to do to prepare for that thing? It's worth
Yeah.
that much preparation so that I can be ready when it is time for me to tackle that. If I would have took my EMBA 10 years ago, I think it would have been a waste of money. I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
was in the right headspace. I don't think I had the right experiences behind me. I don't think that I had the resources. I didn't have the time. There's just so many different factors that would not make it the right choice. And I feel that you can have a plan, but you need to be patient. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
have this like kind of hybrid motto in terms of like there are some things that I know I can analyze. So I could be like, yeah, it's for me and it's right now. And there's some
Mm-hmm.
things that I'm like, I want that so badly, but I feel like I need to wait. I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
need to wait it out. I know that I want it. It's in my, and every like moment I'm
Mm-hmm.
reevaluating it and so forth. But it's like really trusting timing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could have had my agency 10 years ago. I don't think that I would be in a position right now to do half of the things that I'm doing currently if it wasn't for me trusting the timing. And there's some things that I want right now that aren't coming. Okay? That I want right now. And I'm like, when I was telling you, I'm vexed. Like, yo, where is it at? But those are the
Mm-hmm.
times where he's my compass and he's reminding me, like, I got you, but it ain't right now. There's a few
Mm-hmm.
elements that you need to work out so that when this opportunity comes, you don't blow it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's it's me having that internal compass, but me also trusting the best compass, which is him in guiding me like, Kate, this is for you, and I'm gonna feel it like
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a gift that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'm ready.
I
Like I
get it.
have my ducks in the row to kind of address it. I would say that I'm a cautious person, but I'm not a cautious person where I would let fear stop me from ever
Mm-hmm.
doing something. I'm a very strategic person.
Yeah.
I'm very strategic in terms of like my relationship with time and my relationship with the long road versus the now. Like I'm not trying to be a one hit wonder. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
building legacy. Like that's
Legacy.
what I'm doing. And in order to build legacy, you need to space out your phases. You need to space out your milestones. I have so many ideas of what I want to do and what I need to do and how I'm going to be doing it, but I have to be patient and understand
Mm-hmm.
that now is not always the best time.
Mm-hmm. Listen, that season of waiting is always challenging. I feel like I'm in that right now. I have so many ideas myself and so many things I want to do, and so many and so many. As I also grow closer in my relationship to God, it's like everything is divinely orchestrated. It's all in divine timing. And then when you have that moment when you look back, like you're able to say, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do this. Even when I'm thinking about Babe Seeking Balance, which I only started back in September, but it's just been growing. And it was my environment that informed it's
Hmm.
necessity. Black women are like, I just want somewhere I can chill out, where I can just be and just, just whatever. But the point I'm making is that we can look back with that 2020 vision and be like, oh, okay, this is why we had to wait. I get it now. So it always works
Fine.
out. Fine, fine. Your work is deeply rooted in impact. How do you measure success beyond just career achievement?
I measure it through interactions. I really measure
Mm,
it through interactions. I measure it through you inviting me on your show. I measure
mhm,
it through the DMs and the messages and the taps on the shoulders where I'm like, oh my God, aren't you that or did you do or do I know? Like I measure through all
yeah.
that and I feel like that's another element that keeps me grounded in that sense because we could all set KPIs and targets for what we want to do, how we can achieve it. We can obviously measure it monetarily, but when we're thinking about true sustainable impact, as an advantage, as a competitive advantage, it's through your tribe. It's through the people that
I
you're
agree.
touching. It's through the motivation. Whether you have one follower today or a million tomorrow, it's really making sure that your message is consistent and not being stuck on necessarily only the numbers, but really about what you're doing, how it's making people feel, and
Hmm.
how you can continue getting that feedback to kind of pivot and dig deeper and like be more responsible with the platform that you have and the impact that you're generating. So there's different levels, and that is just possible through growth. And I use this word a lot, but a lot of accountability.
And just because we're speaking about people, the folks that you've met on your course who you probably would never have interacted with, do you see yourself connecting with them after? Do you think you'll keep in touch?
Oh my God. Yeah, no. I have like a
Yeah?
couple of really good friendships that are brewing in my
Oh.
cohort now that like I said, people that I would never have connected with or have a drink with are now
Hmm.
people that I'm confiding with, that are supporting me in different ways, that are motivating me, that are showing me and opening up opportunities or angles to address certain things, providing me with language that I didn't have. And it's super
Hmm.
important that we continuously have this curiosity and hunger to learn so
Hmm.
that we can develop the language to actually communicate coherently or strategize even on how we're moving to that next step. So I'm super grateful for my cohort and for how amazing and generous they are, and how much they inspire me, and how much that they value me. I think when I came into the cohort, I was like, okay, I'm the black girl. Um, like I came in the first day with this orange suit and my baseball cap and my big personality. However, inside I'm hearing everyone's resumes. I'm like, where do I
Mm,
like stack
that
up?
imposter
You know what I
syndrome, huh?
mean? Exactly. Like, where do I stack up in the midst of it all? And but hearing that affirmation through just asking me my opinion, asking me where my POV is coming from, and so forth, and having that dynamic and knowing the place and the space that I'm taking up has been really such an instrument in really helping me with my confidence, I would say.
Your confidence, your elevation to the next level. You said something about your POV there, because before that, we're talking about being around these people has helped with your communication and having those conversations. But I also think the perspective you bring, because the likelihood of them interacting with you is also like you're both probably feeling the same thing. You're all feeling the same thing. So you're bringing something to their table as well. That's very valid and needed.
And also with I would say, the blessing and the burden of representing Black women, right? Like,
True.
what is your perception of me and how now with you knowing me, how does that change your outlook when you interact with someone else that looks like me? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Am
Mm-hmm.
I being judged on what I'm wearing? Am I being judged on my eloquence? Am I being judged on blah, blah, blah? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's really setting that bar and disrupting mindsets, whether people are saying it, oh my God, I was thinking Black women were this stereotype, and now that I've met you, I've removed that stereotype. No, not that, but I see it based on the depth of the conversations that I'm having with people that I wasn't having before.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
we really
unconscious.
have to, exactly, you need to manage your impact through interactions. And that's why I said that the
Definitely, yeah.
interactions are the best barometer of knowing, are you doing what you need to be doing?
I love that. We're coming to time, so this is the last question. In this season of your life, what is your biggest intention for yourself and for your community moving forward?
I would say generational wealth. I would
Mm,
say it's really generational wealth, and wealth being not only financial because we want them coins, okay? We want those coins, but also wealth in knowledge, wealth in opinion, wealth
mm,
in self-love, wealth in belonging, wealth in visibility. That's what I want, not only myself, but for everyone. And if I'm working on doing that for everyone, that's just implicitly that it's going to rebound back to me. So that's what
mhm.
I'm really carving and just seeing it through my daughters and seeing, my 6-year-old saying, like, I want to be a businesswoman when I grow up. Like,
Well, this is what
that's
I'm
not
thinking. What an example to your daughters you are.
it's not a vocabulary that I had at 6 years old. Listen, my mom was an amazing mother, is an amazing mother, and she
Yeah.
supports me in everything that I do. But our whole purpose is to do more than the previous generation in terms of they set you up, and then like, what are
Mm-hmm.
you gonna do with that setup to like now do this and then now do this?
Mm-hmm.
So, hearing my daughter just say, like, okay, not doctor, not engineer, not nurse, but like this idea and concept of businesswoman and
Yeah.
seeing that she sees what I'm doing, she's like, that's what I want to do when I grow up. That is really the biggest motivator and blessing. And I just want to continue being an example to them, more importantly. And even when I don't feel like I have the energy to like continue, they really drive me and push me to continuously feel delusional and like
Bet on yourself.
over exactly and over like overcome the fear and like just do the crazy things that are
Mm-hmm.
are are embedded in us.
I think that's a wonderful way to close, to be honest. Bet on yourself, continue to be delusional, do the thing to overcome the fears, all of that.
All of the things, all of the things. And thank you
Hmm.
so much for giving me the space
Thank
and the
you.
time through your platform. Honestly, it was such a pleasure to meet you. And I can't wait to see how we're going to work together in the future because you definitely have something special. And
Oh, thank you.
I'm now invested in making sure that I can be a conduit to helping you realize whatever you need to realize.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You obviously can't feel it, but I've got all these little chills on me. Thank you so much for saying that. I
No,
appreciate
I mean
you.
it definitely.
All right. Well, Nicole, I will give you back your time now
Ew,
and we'll
supper's
speak
in
very
the
soon.
oven.
Well,
Take care.
enjoy. Bye.
Bye.